G'day, Geoff Lewis here from Seriously Series, and welcome to another episode in servicing your 4x4. Now, you've guessed correctly, there's something missing here, and that is in fact the motor or the engine. Today what I wanted to talk about is how to get your motor or engine running that little bit better, particularly if you've got a petrol motor and it's obviously got a carburetor fitted to it. What we're going to be looking at in greater depth is the kit that you can buy from H&J Engineering, and this is obviously to fit a number of different carburetors that obviously wasn't possible to fit on the Land Rover motors from factory. In particular, we're going to be looking at the HIF 44 SU carburetor. So it should be an interesting video as always, and hopefully we should learn a few things along the way too. So if this is a video that's of interest to you, you know what to do. Stay tuned. Rightio. So this is the motor that I've talked about in a few other videos. This is the 2.25 litre petrol engine that was rebuilt by the team at Galloway Engines. A number of reasons as to why I didn't rebuild it myself, but in retrospect I think it was a fantastic decision getting them on board. They've just done a wonderful job, and I've talked a lot about that too, and we'll revisit the motor and sort of how it's evolved in the workshop update videos that we do here on Seriously Series. But this is what we want to have a look at today, and this is the SU carburetor kit that you can get from H&J Engineering. James and the team there have obviously developed a really good kit, and I'm not just saying that, it is a really well thought out kit. For example, the nuts that are actually used and the threads are all Imperial, which actually is in keeping with the motor. It's very tempting nowadays to use that horrible word beginning with M, metric. Metric. Who'd want to use metric, hey? There's no fun with metric. You don't get BSF, you don't get BSW, you don't get UNC, UNF. What would you do with all your time? But anyway, let's get on to the kit itself. So you can purchase the kit off their website, and there'll be a link in the content section down below, or description box, and you can click on that and have a bit of a window shop at your leisure. The kit obviously comes in a number of different, I guess, sort of complexities, you could say, and this is obviously to fit a variety of different carburetors. I've gone for the HIF 44 because it's a very simple carburetor, it's a very effective carburetor, and they're quite easy to come by. You can also fit the, I believe it's the Strongberg carburetor that was used on the 2.6 litre 6-cylinder engine that was used obviously in a number of Rover cars, but also in the Land Rover too. With that, the kit's slightly different. Either way, you need to buy this wonderfully machined and forged elbow here, and then that provides you the point of which you can then bolt the carburetor of your choice on. I've then gone for the original air intake, or setup for the original air intake, so this can then go into the oil bath air filter that's in the Series 3, because off-road, I think personally, from my own experience, it's the best oil filter you could ever have. Might not be the most efficient, but it does the job, and it works really well out here in outback Western Australia. Putting the kit together, that's the next thing you're going to ask. Is it hard? Well, no, it's not. It's actually very intuitive. The great thing about the website is there's really in-depth photos, and so what you can actually do, and this is what I did, is I had my phone and I just kept referring to the pictures as I was actually looking at all the different components, double checking that I had all the right pieces. The most complex thing that you really need to do I'll bring you in a bit closer and show you what I'm talking about, is setting the threads here. You've got a couple of threads that you need to, or studs I should say more correctly. Tends to happen here at Seriously Series, bolts turn to nuts and nuts turn to bolts. But anyway, you just need to set these studs into the actual manifold itself. And obviously with that, you then need to make sure that you've got the rubber, I guess, plate, baffle, whatever you want to call it, thing, here facing in the right direction. This here is obviously for your throttle cable, because we'll have to do away with the linkage in the Series 3, and we'll actually have to fit a throttle cable and then a choke cable. We'll have to change that too. I think we end up using one out of a Range Rover Classic. And with that, that's pretty much it. The next most difficult task that we have to do is actually tuning this bad boy and getting the right, I guess, yeah, the right accelerator, I think it's the accelerator spring, and the right needle to go with it too. But that's another video for another time, because there's some really interesting software out there you can get today that takes a lot of the guesswork out of it, and there's some really fancy pieces of kit that you can buy that aren't that expensive that makes tuning the old humble carburetor a lot easier. So anyway, I know it's a bit of a brief overview, but I just wanted to sort of share with you sort of my thoughts on the kit itself. Is it a worthwhile investment? Will it prove to be useful? Is it really all that it's, you know, tricked up to be? Well, that's what we're going to find out down the track. So if you want to find out more, then you know what to do. Click on that subscribe button down below, click on the notification button too. And if you're enjoying the content here at Seriously Series, then please be sure to click on the Patreon icon, check us out there. And if that isn't your cup of tea, you can support us via PayPal too, through our website by clicking on the link in the content section down below. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in our next video.